Press conference. We've got a busy weekend, but nobody's at home this week for UTPB. Coming up this weekend, men's and women's swimming are at the Southwest Shootout in San Antonio, Texas. Coach said they'll be swimming against 9 other teams this weekend, so they'll be in competition Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in San Antonio. Also on Friday, women's basketball and men's basketball both take on St. Mary's in different places. The women are playing up in Lubbock, Texas. They tip off against the Rattlers at 4 o'clock, and the men tip off against St. Mary's way on the other side of the state in Laredo at 5. Saturday, November 17th, Nick Whitcop and Freshia Dogu will be running at the NCAA South Central Regional, cross-country regional up in Denver. That will be at 11 o'clock our time. Men's basketball will be playing Texas A&M International down in Laredo at 5 o'clock, and the women will be taking on Lubbock Christian at 6 o'clock up in Lubbock. And Sunday, men's and women's swimming will wrap up their meet in San Antonio, and then at 10:30 that night will be the Falcon Focus on CBS 7 at 10:30. A few things from this past week. Football wrapped up its season with a 24-21 loss at Texas A&M Kingsville. Chris Hode ends the season the Lone Star Conference tackling leader with 133 total tackles and finished ranked 3rd in the NCAA Division II with 133 tackles. Right, men's basketball picked up a pair of wins this past weekend in Colorado. Falcons averaged over 99 points a game and lead the Lone Star Conference. Adam Rivera ranks 3rd in the Lone Star with 16.5 points a game, and Kyrie Elder is a couple spots behind him in 5th with 16 points a game. The Falcons were one of 2 teams in Division II to go on the road and pick up a pair of wins in the opening weekend, and they're one of 4 teams overall in the NCAA to go on the road and pick up a pair of wins in their first 2 games. And they were the only team in the South Central region to do so. Women's basketball picked up a big win Saturday, 61-61 over Colorado Springs, when Sarah Bursang scored with 13 points left and the Falcons held off Colorado Springs at the buzzer. They are currently ranked 2nd in the Lone Star Conference in field goal percentage. All right, and we'll get started today with men's basketball head coach Josh Newman.
Well, first I want to thank all the veterans. Obviously we're a day late, but it's Veterans Day was yesterday. It's a day that's very special. It gives us the opportunity to be here today and to do what we love to do. So I want to say thank you to all the veterans for everything they've done, and obviously moving forward as well. We had a really good weekend. As Ryan talked about, we were the only team in the South Central region to go on the road and win 2 true road games. So very happy with my team. After the first night, after playing Adams State, we were wondering where our transition defense was. Either it stayed in Odessa or we left it on the bus. But we found it the next day versus Saturday versus Western, and 2 really good wins for us, truth be told. You don't know what you're going to get coming out of the gate. We really didn't know much about our opponents. It was more about us, what we needed to do, and I thought we took care of business on both nights.
So starting off hot, what did you learn about your guys from this first week?
Well, I learned we could score. We scored a lot. We scored a lot of points, and it kind of came within our offense. Kind of just matured, I think, throughout the weekend as we were able to get out in transition and do a lot of damage. Honestly, not only get easy baskets, but we also get to the free throw line. That's one of the things that my teams have always done in the past is get to the free throw line, and I think as of right now, we've already made over 50 free throws in 2 games. So getting out in transition allows us to do that. I was also very happy with our depth. Right now we have 6 guys averaging over 10 points a game, which is ideal. And 2 guys are right behind that with 8. So hopefully if things can continue to do what we want to do, we'll be really deep all year long.
When you mentioned depth, Isaiah came out and he had 21 points on Saturday off the bench. What was how did you feel about that from bench player?
It was great because I thought the first night he was not very good. And the second night he had flashes of being brilliant. And that's right now going to happen. Guys are going to play well. They're going to kind of be up and down. That consistency is going to take form. But we were very happy with Isaiah. Once he gets in the open court, he's as fast as anybody that we're going to see. Obviously, as fast as anybody on our team.
2 pretty close games. How are your guys able to pull out the wins?
Well, I wish I could tell you we pulled out with our defense, but that'd be a lie. We actually just pretty much outscored them. At the end of the day, versus Adams State, we had to get 1 stop to end the game, and I thought our guys actually executed that really well. The next night, our offense pretty much kept them at bay almost the entire game. Going into that game, Western had just come off a win versus West Texas. Prior to that, in their exhibition game, they beat Air Force by 20. They can really shoot the ball. But I thought our defense in the second night was really good, outstanding, honestly, with a team that can shoot the ball as well as Western can.
So looking at the UTEP scrimmage for a moment, at the first half, it was a 4-point game. What did you think of your guys? Did you expect that, going up against a D1 program, 4 points going into halftime?
Well, I always approach D1 games differently, and my players sometimes get upset with me, but it is what it is. Going into those games, it's about us and what are we trying to do. That was an exhibition game, so we wanted to try a lot of different things. We were trying different guys out of different positions, different lineups, and we played that first game traditionally like a real half. The second half, we tried all kinds of things, and I think that's why the game separated. But I want my guys coming out of that game feeling, hey, if we were to play it the right way, if we were to play it like a traditional game 2 months from now, the outcome would be different. But we use those exhibition games a little bit different than most.
So then just a hypothetical here, do you think you're playing D1 programs on a nightly basis? Do you think this team would hold their own?
Not right now, because of the physicality, the experience, but at the end of the day, hopefully. I think if our team continues to grow in every aspect, then we're going to be a really good basketball team.
Moving forward, what are the areas that you guys are going to be focusing on this week?
Defense. I think we can score the ball, but we're going to have to be better defensively. Like most teams, timing is still an issue. We play two different teams with two different styles. This week coming up, St. Mary's and TAMU, two teams I'm very familiar with from being in that league, are very physical. They're grinded out basketball teams. They want to play in the 60s, so they're going to try to slow us down by playing slower offensively. So we're going to have to be good defensively. We're going to have to execute a little bit better in the half court as well this weekend to be successful.
I guess just kind of bouncing off that real quick, do you think obviously a lot of possessions for both teams in those first two games. Do you think that had kind of more to do with the teams you're going up against, or you think this team is kind of a team that will be one that looks to get out and push? I know that you're still kind of getting a feel for things.
Sure, no. For me personally, it's all about possessions. When you have good players, you want more possessions. It just makes sense. If you have guys that can score, if you have 5 guys, 7 guys, 10 guys that can score points, then you want more shots up. So for us, it's truly about possessions. Now you notice we're not pressing. We're not going to try to get possession defensively like that, but we're going to push the tempo every time because I want more shots from my guys because obviously the more shots you get when you're shooting 55% or something like that, you want to shoot the ball more. So it's going to be a high possession game. If it's up to us, we're going to have to figure out how to make them play our style.
And after getting to see your guys play in 3 games, I know you mentioned UTEP, you kind of took that one a little bit differently, but 2 non-conference games, you kind of have an idea of who your starting 5 is going to be, or are you still playing around with it a little bit?
No, that's pretty set. Kyrie Elder's playing the point for us, something he's never done in his life, but he's doing a great job, which goes back to the UTEP game. That was an experimental deal for us. Can he do it? Isaiah Hammond's come off the bench, and he's basically our backup point guard. Starting 2 is Jacob Ledoux. Xavier Ledet, who's here today, is our starting 3 that can play the 3, the 4, the 5 for us. And then Adam Rivera and Maurice Walton round out the starting 5. So our starting 5 is pretty much set. But as you can tell, Isaiah came off the bench and scored 21. He led us in scoring the second night. Jamani Glover, who came off the bench in the first half, was fantastic. I think he had 12 points. So just because a guy starts or doesn't start really doesn't matter to me. And I tell guys this all the time. It's about who finishes the game. You want to be the guy on the floor at the end of the game versus the guy that starts the game.
Awesome. Thanks,
you.
Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Okay, next up will be men's basketball senior.
Now we got background music.
Yeah, it seems like it fits in perfectly too. This is his theme song. So, you guys all good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, same thing I asked Coach. What did you learn about the team? What did you learn about the coaching staff first week playing?
I learned that we could grind games out and get together and stay together in close games. That was a very early start for close games for our team, and we pulled it out great.
How does it feel to be 2-0 right now?
I feel it's wonderful. You always gonna feel good after wins.
So, kind of going back, how did you feel, on the court up against going against a D1 team and in the exhibition? It was a real game for them, but exhibition for you guys, especially in that first half. It was such a close game.
Felt good playing. It was our first real game against a crowd, so just playing in front of a crowd felt wonderful, and it just felt good to play, to be honest.
What were I know Coach obviously talked about kind of playing around with some stuff during that exhibition game. What do you think are some of the things in that first half that you guys kind of went with that you could really build on going forward and you'll probably stick with?
I believe in the first half we started pushing the ball a little bit more and playing a little bit more smarter. At first we was pushing, but just taking one shot rather than working the ball. But once we realized that that wasn't working, after making a few more passes, it helped us out.
What do you think it says about the offense that you guys are scoring not only at the rate but the efficiency that you are, and it's kind of really spread out at this point, and this is still just 3 games in that you guys have played together as a unit. What do you feel like that says about what this offense can be going forward?
I feel like the offense is going to be great. I mean, having 5 to 6 people score over 10 is just wonderful. It's going to be hard to guard, and we just have a bunch of guys that's working pretty hard right now. So it's wonderful for the program.
What do you think the potential for this program is this season?
Sky's the limit. As long as we keep working hard and improve our defense, I feel like it's going to be wonderful.
Being out on the court, what do you think are some things you guys need to work on moving forward?
Defense. Defense, transition. Our defense is okay now, but it could definitely improve.
Thanks.
Thanks, man.
All right, next up is UTPB women's basketball coach Ray Booth.
How we doing?
Good. How you doing, Coach?
Good, good.
Yeah, I need to adjust too.
Is he a little taller than you?
Just a tad?
Just a second.
Just a little bit?
Maybe an inch or two.
Not in heart though.
No. Definitely not.
Okay, yeah, I'm good now. Sorry.
Yeah. I'm right back when
Yeah.
All right, Coach. How I guess fulfilling was it for you guys as a team after playing a close battle that first game, and then to be able to come out and kind of squeeze one out that second game?
Well, our goal was definitely to win them both.
Yeah.
So after we lost, we knew we had to get one, before this weekend. So we had to split, but we should have won the first one. And I think when we get to see them again in a couple of weeks, we'll be a little bit better by then. Because we blew a lead in the third quarter where we could have taken off with just a little bit more experience and experience in the game, in the heat of the moment. So it feels great to have one, but we know as a team we should have 2.
So especially before conference play, I mean, play two tight games. What does this adversity help you with this early on in the season?
Well, experience, late game, for sure, and crucial. And we try to work on special situations in practice as much as possible, but you just can't simulate that feeling. And so late fourth quarter, we're up 9 points, and we blow a 9-point lead to go down 1. And so just the ability to bounce back from that says a lot about our team and really the heart and the grind and the belief that, China Rivera almost went over somebody's back. It's the highest she's ever jumped in her life because they just wanted it, and so the competition is there. We just need to get better in experience in game situations.
You touched on it a little bit that you liked that they didn't give up in their resiliency. What are some other areas that you really liked from them these past games?
They're just a good group of people. I think they all want the same thing, which makes our job as coaches very easy. They're coachable. They want to learn. They're attentive and scout. So it's just we need to make up for a lack of experience in games. And so it's great that we pulled one out early, but we need everybody being on the same page and playing their best basketball for this weekend.
And if you were, I didn't have the opportunity to see that final shot that Sarah took to pull you guys ahead, but could you kind of run through like what happened in that situation?
Yeah. So we go down 1. I call a timeout, advance the ball. Then somehow we get the ball underneath our rim. So we have a baseline out of bounds set coming up. So I put 2 big players in that are at the bottom of the stat sheet right now. And just to run a quick set for them, and we don't get anything really off of that. But we get a shot, we get an O board, and then a quick reversal, and Sarah hits, a mid-range jumper down that she just kind of makes a living at offensively. So it was a high percentage shot for her, and that was a big play and a big moment. But the assist from China was huge because it was a weak side offensive rebound that she had to go up and get and kick back to her. And we had 2 bigs in there that really didn't play much. And at that point, I was out of timeouts, and the opposing coach didn't call a timeout, so I couldn't sub to get our two bigs out of there to have a good defensive stop. And so we changed our defense at the end, and they did get a good shot off, they just missed. So it was down to the wire, but it was exciting.
So what is your thought, at least it's gotta make you feel good or something like that, it seems like you could plug anyone into the game at that point and, the girls were able to come through. So I guess the question is, confidence in every single player on the team at this point?
Not yet, no. And I think that was a challenge that we made to two of our post players after the game, is for us to really be able to have a run this weekend, because we're living just week to week at this point in the season. We need two of our post players to step it up, and they need to do that in practice starting today. And I think they're accepting the challenge and they're ready for it, but we just need more depth from our 4s and 5s. Lamia is really doing it all by herself, and then we have some guards playing inside out that are undersized. And that was a problem for us last year, was a lack of size. And we have the size, we just need to use them and for them to come ready.
So I guess just bouncing off of that, I know you guys got out-rebounded, especially in that first game, pretty big. But what did you like with what you saw from your defense? You guys holding your opponents under 40% from the field?
Not much.
No?
To be honest. Our steals need to go up. Our turnovers need to go down. The shots that Regis got, they were all high percentage shots from players that were capable of making them. So, for example, we gave up a lot of threes. And in our defense, we should not be giving up a lot of open threes. So I think our style of play just causes people to have to play a little bit different. They can't run what they normally run against zone, and they can't run what they normally run against man against our defense. They kind of need to change what they do, which is great because we want people to scout what we do offensively and defensively. But they had high percentage shots, and that's where we need to make sure that we contest all of those or steal them. That'd be better. So we need to increase our amount of steals per game.
Works for me. Thanks,
You got
Coach.
game winner right here, Sarah.
Yes.
First time.
Let's do
Let's
it.
go. You're up.
Okay, next up is
Next up.
senior Sarah Burke.
Oh, you didn't.
I'm good.
What was going through your head on that play?
It's funny because a lot of people have asked me that, and not much, because it's funny, I have practiced that shot the whole week, and I mean, it paid off because I made it, so.
So overall, what do you think, bigger picture now, just talking about the team as a whole, what have you learned about your squad the first week of the season?
That when it comes down to it, we can really get together as a team, and Coach said if we have to win by one, we're going to take it. And I mean, we're all pretty nervous on that last play, and we had two post in, and we just managed to finish it and win the game. So that was a big step for us.
What do you feel like was working for you just in general that second game? Seemed like had some pretty good numbers from the field, pretty good efficiency, getting your shot to go down from deep too.
I think that we had a pretty good pregame talk, and we talked about there's a difference between coming to play and coming to win. And I had to talk with Coach, with my mom, and I decided that I'm here to win. This is my last year. I can't waste any games, so it's time to go.
What do you think you guys need to work on moving forward?
I think we need to work on a lot of stuff, getting better in practice. Our defense needs to be better. We're a step behind, so we need to figure that out. Offensively, we need to execute better. We're getting a lot of shots up right now to increase our percentage, but that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Works for me.
Thanks.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.